Here we have the HP EF00 blah blah. Apparently it wasn't important enough to Hewlett-Packard to give it its own name, such as Envy or Spectre. But you can get a lot of bang for your buck out of this laptop. Or can you? Let's find out. You can get this HP for about $499, and at first glance that seems like an awesome price, but it's not. See, the thing is it does come with 12 gigs of RAM, it has a 256 gig solid state drive, it has the Ryzen 3500U processor, all of that's pretty decent amount of horsepower, but they put a 15.6 inch touchscreen in it, which may be very appealing to some people, except that it's the low-resolution HD screen, not the FHD that even some of the most eco-friendly laptops are coming with these days. There's no excuse for a computer not to have FHD these days. They're so cheap that if a manufacturer isn't putting that into their laptop, it just means that they're cutting a corner for one reason or another. And that seems to be the given trend with whatever HP produces these days. They cut corners, both on the inside and out. The keyboard, for example, it doesn't have a backlight. And while that's not like that big of a deal, it's not a deal breaker per se, Acer, Asus, Dell, it's becoming kind of a standardized thing. And you can get an Asus VivoBook for $399 and it has a backlight on the keyboard. But that's not where it stops. The keyboard here is mushy. It's unpleasant to type on. You'll produce a lot of typos because the keys just sort of wobble. They don't feel particularly good when typing on. It does have the numpad on the right side there, which a lot of people are going to appreciate, but they didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the quality of the keyboard itself. It same goes for the touchpad. It's a little bit small and kind of plain. It doesn't have a fingerprint scanner. This also comes with Windows 10 S, which while that's fine because you can do a free upgrade to Windows 10 Home with no problem, it's still another thing where they were trying to subsidize the cost with Microsoft of the operating system, and as a result, you just got something a little less bang for your buck. Now, I'll go over a couple of things that I do like about the computer. It's got a bit of a small profile, so it's kind of thin and light. It does have oddly good speakers. You can get the volume pretty high and get a lot of treble and bass without a whole lot of distortion. Frankly, a little bit better than the Asus VivoBook speakers, but nevertheless, it does come with wireless, of course, 802.11ac. It's got Bluetooth 4.1. It has a webcam at the top and the dual microphone array as well. So this is going to be fine for things like Skype calls, Zoom, whether you're working from home or doing conference calls, these kinds of things. It should be adequate for that, of course. But like with a lot of HPs, the reliability on this thing is questionable. We get a lot of Hewlett-Packards in this office for very bizarre problems, and a lot of them aren't serviceable. HP either does ridiculous proprietary things or the parts are hard to come by. This is probably a rebranded computer, so I don't think this is designed or built by Hewlett-Packard. I'm quite certain that this is commissioned from them. So in other words, they had either Clevo, Compal, or some Chinese company design and build it, and then they just slapped the HP logo on it. As a result of that, you might get something at the very least serviceable if this goes wrong, but then of course you have to deal with HP's miserable customer service. And that still doesn't excuse the fact that frankly, it's just kind of a cheap laptop. If you're a student, and students really put laptops through the ringers, they're taking it from dorm room, tossing it in their backpack, bringing it from class to class. Their laptops really receive a lot of abuse. And frankly, I'm not sure this laptop can take a whole lot of abuse. The materials are just very plasticky, very flimsy. Hear this, it's kind of flimsy feeling. I don't know. I think if you are traveling with this computer, even though it is lightweight, and it is lightweight, it's lighter than an Asus VivoBook, I'm pretty sure, it's not going to hold up all that well. So really this computer is best spent as a kind of tabletop laptop that you either keep at your home office or your business, and you probably connect an external keyboard or a monitor to. In that case, it would probably be fine. Which then leads me to my next point. Input and output on this thing is okay. It does have two USB 3.0s. It's got USB-C on this side, HDMI, camera card reader, and this is full SD size as well, and then a headphone jack. So input and output is more or less par for the course on laptops these days. Nevertheless, and you'll need that HDMI to plug in a monitor that's actually worth a damn. In terms of who would want to buy this, I would say that you're, probably like a non-profit or somebody that's working from home and not going to be traveling a whole lot with it. That'd probably be fine. I wouldn't get this if you're a student. It just won't hold up well. Certainly not for gamers. You might be able to play like StarCraft 2 or Fortnite on it, but it's certainly not meant for AAA titles or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I can't recommend this laptop. Even though you seem to be getting a lot of horsepower on paper, the reliability is certainly questionable. I can't stand the corners that they tried cutting. You know, you would have been better off with 8 gigs of RAM and a full high definition screen than you were with 12 gigs of RAM. Manufacturers are using RAM these days as like another selling point. The fact of the matter is most people don't even use 8 gigs of RAM, which is more or less becoming a standard these days. So for a computer that's priced at $500, you know, you really want that high definition screen, especially if you're going to be using it as a laptop. And you know, you probably want something that's going to hold up a little better. So I don't know. I would not recommend this laptop to people. You know, if it's the only thing that you can find, okay. If I was buying this computer, I would be looking for something else. I'd be probably looking at either a Dell, Lenovo, Acer, Slim 5, Asus VivoBook, which is a very popular item these days. So would I recommend this computer? No. But, you know, you could always buy this computer, and then if it explodes in a year, you're really not out that much money.